Well, students, this is my second lecture. In our last lecture, we discussed about what was happening during 15th and 16th century, especially in Italy and Spain. This lecture is going to focus on other parts of the world as to what was happening during 15th and 16th century in different parts of the world. So this is going to lay foundation for you to understand how world literature is somehow linked with world history. And this is going to elaborate what was happening at different parts of the world during these two centuries. So first we're going to start with Ottoman Empire. Let me read the points one by one. Point number one says an emperor named as Mehmed conquered Constantinople. He was a Muslim who destroyed Hagia Sophia, the largest church in Turkey, and replaced it with a mosque. I'm sorry, this has to be with capital T. The next point says this Ottoman Empire was one of the biggest ruling dynasty over the map at that time. The kitchens of the ruler's castle and mosque Hagia Sophia fed thousands of hungry people for free. The next point says the presence of variety of food made from unique spices were the evidence of were the evidence of luxury and elite on the dining tables. The next point states, hence, the different spices were imported from Portugal by the ruler. Now, why are we talking about um, this as a major event? First, we spoke about how Mehmed conquered Constantinople, and then in the later parts, we are discussing about spices. So you may be wondering about as to how have I prioritized these points and why am I including such major points with such minor ones? So there's this purpose behind it. Firstly, this is just to give you a global picture of what was happening in 15th and 16th century at that time. So when we are going to talk about the different parts of the world, definitely we will be talking about some important points which were somehow related to the other territories as well. For instance, if I am talking about Ottoman Empire right now, and I am specifying about the spices, which were very important in Mehmed's castle at that time, so maybe I'm going to relate this point later on to the other point in my upcoming slides. So this Mehmed was a Muslim emperor who actually destroyed this church, which was a very big church, and it still stands as a mosque in Turkey. And thousands of travelers and people, foreigners, visit there and roam around, and they admire the beautiful architecture of this mosque still. So this tells us that this was a major twist in the history at that time, as I have in class specified a number of times that fall of Roman Empire in itself was a very, very important event in history. Why do I say that? Because when one territory is conquered by one emperor, it means that he or she is going to bring his own culture into the conquered land. So when we say that Mehmed was a Muslim emperor, it tells you or it indicates that from now onwards, whatever is going to happen within the territory will specifically be religious, Islamic by core. So here we point out that this Ottoman Empire was one of the biggest ruling dynasty over that time. And it says that once Mehmed had conquered Hagia Sophia, he used his own castle and the mosque for feeding hungry people. So again, we see a glimpse of humanity here. As I pointed out, um, pointed out the idea of humanity sprouting in Renaissance. Again, this idea is somehow connected with that idea, and later on we are going to say that how it brought a global impact. Then we look at the presence of variety of food made from unique spices were the evidence of luxury and elite on the dining tables. If we speak about today's world, maybe it's not very different, or maybe it's not very unique to have variety of cuisines on our dining tables. Why? Because the world is changed into a global village. We can communicate with each other, and we know information, and we get knowledge from people across the borders very easily. But at that time it wasn't that easy, and having variety of food, or having variety of cuisines in itself was a symbol of luxury. So what this Emperor Mehmed did, he used to import spices from Portugal. Now, in the later stages, we're going to talk about the Portuguese people, which is going to give you a clear idea of what was happening at that time.